Good evening, I am Adventure Argonaut. This is the Golden News, and I'm streaming a bit earlier today than usual during Tuesday News Day. Uh, Basically, because I had the opportunity to do so. My son is sleeping, and hopefully for a while still, so I can finish everything. My streams, let's see, is every stream working before we get to the news? How's this? Yes, kick Twitch. No, wait, that's not the right image. Rumble is, yeah, alright, Rumble is okay, also working. Okay, everything looks fine. Got my chats here and there and everywhere. So let's go to the first story, which is disclosure, UFO disclosure. Trump is promising and his administration to disclose all the UFO stuff. So Trump says he has directed the release of all government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, UAPs and UFOs. What is UAP? Like underwater alien pedo? So based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, okay, that's what UAP, and unidentified flying objects, and any other and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America. So the timing is like assuming there's actually gonna release all of it and it's unredacted, and I really doubt it's gonna be all of it, and who knows whether some of the stuff released will be fake in some way, because that's what I expect, especially if there's going to be documents saying like, yeah, totally, there's aliens, we've been communicating with them for a long time. It's like I'm not saying that, there aren't phenomena or entities that might completely revolutionize of our understanding of reality and all that stuff. I think there's a possibility, good possibility, that something like that exists, but I'm just not expecting the US government to give us the truth. And of course the timing is most interesting, because of course still people are very interested in pursuing the thread of the Epstein files for a good reason. And Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says we are on the verge of discovering whether aliens truly exist. Doesn't mean we, as in, the civilians of the world, that, presumably if they exist and they have all these files already and had them for a long time, the government, US government would know. This is not related to that, but it's US politics. So Vatican will not join Trump's Board of Peace. Vatican Secretary of State Cardinal Pietro Parolin said that the Holy See will not participate in the Board of Peace because of its particular nature, which is evidently not that of other states. So I guess that's good news. So Trump on Iran. So some people are saying that this is one reason that, they're going to go to war against Iran, and the aliens are to distract from that sort of. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal, or we're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days. And you know what happens in 10 days? The Jewish feast of Purim, the feast where they commemorate their victory over Haman, who planned to genocide Jews in Persia. Can't make this shit up. Yeah, alright. And there's this. Kim.com, all US gold is gone. So, this is Epstein. Okay, I didn't check that it's actually one of the Epstein emails. I just saw this some stuff, but okay, Russia said, and this is 2011, so this is 15 years ago. Damn, time goes so fast. Now, Russia says IMF chief jailed for discovering all US gold is gone, and a new report prepared for Prime Minister Putin by the Federal Security Service says former International Monetary Fund (IMF) chief Dominique Strauss-Kahn was charged and jailed in the US for sex crimes on May 14th after his discovery that all of the US gold in the United States bullion depository located at Fort Knox was missing or unaccounted for. I'm not going to read all of that. But if this report is true, maybe that's one reason why they didn't audit the Fort Knox, even though, Doge, Elon Musk was sort of hinting at it that they might be doing it, but they didn't, obviously. What's this? Because Trump tweeted this or truth this: he who saves his country violates no law. Napoleon Bonaparte. Didn't Captain Kirk say that? Napoleon removed the Freemasons' ability to exist as independent power centers. His entire system was built on one principle: nothing operates above the state and nothing operates beside it. With Freemasonry, he allowed lodges to exist, but they were folded into the imperial order. They were monitored, staffed by loyal officials, and stripped of their earlier revolutionary autonomy. Freemasonry has circulated occult, esoteric mysticism, and ideas before and during the revolution, but under Napoleon it lost its ability to act as a transnational ideological network. It became politically harmless. In that sense, Freemasonry as an institution was neutralized. On finance, the impact was stronger and more concrete. Napoleon rejected the British model of war finance, which relied on long-term sovereign debt raised through international bond markets and intermediated by powerful banking families such as the Rothschilds. Instead, he financed the state through direct taxation, forced contributions for indemnities, and territorial extraction. This meant France did not become dependent on private creditors whose leverage came from interest-bearing debts, which today we know as the Federal Reserve banking scam. As a result, the institutional environment that allowed families like the Rothschilds to gain power in Britain and later across Europe simply did not exist in Napoleonic France. The creation of the Bank of France fits this pattern. It was not designed as an independent central bank in the modern sense, but as a tool to stabilize currency and credit under state dominance. Over time, Napoleon ensured that banks served government priorities rather than private financial ones. He was anti-Federal Reserve, anti-Jewish banking cartel. Credit flowed towards state needs, not speculative markets, and banking was treated as an administrative function, not a sovereign force. Napoleon also distrusted speculative finance more broadly. He viewed abstract paper wealth, stock jobbing, and financial maneuvering divorced from production or conquest as socially corrosive and politically dangerous. Regulation, surveillance, and administrative control kept finance subordinate to industry and the military. Money was to serve people, not to shape it. Napoleon's system was hostile to both Freemasonry and transnational private banking as autonomous institutions. They could exist only insofar as they were subordinated to the state and stripped of independent authority. Sound familiar? This guy sounds like literally Hitler. This Napoleon, who is this guy? How dare he? Anyways, speaking of Rothschilds and stuff, let's go to the next part, which is Epstein files meets X files. So there's gonna be more, Epstein file stuff here, but there's also some bit weirder stuff, like UFOs. We already had UFO stuff, and then we have other stuff. But first, so United Kingdom's ex-Prince Andrew has been arrested. and he was arrested for the suspicion of misconduct in public office. So it's not because he diddled kids or anything like that, because of course that's not a crime according to these people, but like is um he did something to cause shame to this office that protects pedophiles. That's why he's being arrested. And of course, it just means he's arrested. Doesn't mean that actually he's going to go to jail, or if he goes to jail, maybe it's going to be, 6 months or something in some luxury prison, slap on the wrist for, symbolic purposes. But still, like, he is the first Epstein file arrest, which is in UK, not in US or anywhere else. So that's like, I guess on some level you can say it's a symbolic victory that to point out that yes, this Epstein file stuff is actually significant. But yeah, we shouldn't be satisfied with just one guy getting arrested and we not even know how he's going to be judged or anything. So yeah, Prince Andrew has already been released. I told you this has nothing to do with children or abused girls, and while the lemmings cheer for the arrest, justice keeps slipping further and further away, says Sir Isknor, Hopium Slayer. Study what happened today carefully. They baited the whole world with Prince Andrew at arrested, shot the hopium straight into people's veins, kept everyone glued to the screens, refreshing, reposting, praying for real accountability. And then the gut punch lands, and not arrested for crimes against children, not for trafficking, not for the thing everybody actually cares about. Neat bureaucratic misconduct in public office, kind of charge that screams damage control. That's the pattern. Hope, despair on an IV drip, accelerated by the trauma we swim in 24/7 on phones, TV timelines, doom scrolling. Because hope spikes you, despair drains you, and the whiplash keeps you suggestible, is the exact psychological recipe used to erode mind's natural defenses against mind control, the ones that make people hard to program. This isn't chaos, it's calibration, it's conditioning, it's by design. No heroes, no halos, no anti-opium. Okay, it's I guess somewhat polemical, but I think he's onto something. And Prince Andrew was arrested on his 66th birthday by 6 police officers exactly 666 days after this happened. So there was this, like, 2 years ago, blood-soaked royal horses escaping bolts through. Yeah, I don't really remember. Like, I didn't pay much attention when this thing happened. I remember this image, but not quite sure, like, why were the horses blood-soaked this way or anything. Yeah, curiouser and curiouser. And also former British ambassador to US Peter Mandelson arrested by London police amid Jeffrey Epstein scandal. So this is big, and like this guy is actually Jewish and gay, and because I know he's Jewish because there was talk that he might be escaping to Israel, but I guess not yet. But once again, he's only arrested, and I think so for misconduct in office and not any actual like real crime, you could say. But maybe they will find like, oh, we couldn't prove he did anything wrong, or or maybe he's gonna get slap on the wrist or something. I doubt they're gonna actually make him pay for his crimes the way he should. I doubt that. Lex Wexner's attorney caught on a hot mic telling him how we will fucking kill you if he answers a question. Many people assumed Wexner was the top of the food chain, but this shows he's not. These are dangerous people, and I expect that they said the same to Trump, Cash, and Pam.
Question regularly done. Answer not the question. 5 words, okay?
Yeah, we will fucking kill you if you say more than 5 words, something like that. And I think he was like previously somebody asked him about the Rothschilds. Yeah, so who is this guy, Michael N. Levy? That's the The journal, yeah, the lawyer, not journalist. Yeah, this guy, Michael Levy, the attorney who threatened to kill Lex Wexner on a hot mic, has been identified as Michael Levy. The lawyer who threatened to kill Lex Wexner has been identified. Michael Levy. He is mentioned in Epstein files, fund scams, financial swindles, and protection of the wealthy elite. Lloyd, where is it? So it's between from Mark Lloyd to Epstein. This email. I would be grateful if you would cast your eye over the attached. It is a fund set up by a childhood friend of Lars Theis Hovers, who now lives and works in Greenwich. Though it would be a good idea to connect fund to contact base since the Bern Lutheran Fund was formed. Given your huge experience in this world, I would value your opinion on it. You might know one of the founder investors, Michael Levy, who used to be very big in Credit Suisse in First Boston. Also, Robert Bass has invested in the of Oak Hill Capital Partners Fund. So, but yes, so he was recommended to Epstein by this Mark Lloyd guy. Interesting. Yeah, so this guy, and he'll fucking kill you. Every president has their Jewish handler to remind them of this. Probably. Yeah, just look how this is like from a movie or something. This shot's like, you may be president, but I tell you what to do. It's like, and you dumb Niagara, you will do what we say, or you can say your ass goodbye. I think Jake Shields is like, of course, is assumption, but it sounds credible. She's a German billionaire countess. She sat on the UK's NHS Health Board advising on patient data. She invested in Israeli tech alongside a former prime minister, and her name appears 3,475 times in the Epstein files. Nicole Junkermann emailed, yeah, it's German, so it's Juncker, not Junker. Junkermann emailed Jeffrey Epstein, will you have a baby with me? Where is the best place to do so? He called him baby, and Mr. Wonderful flight log show she was on the Lolita Express going back to 2002, and the emails continued after 2008 conviction for trafficking in minors. When Me Too movement started, she emailed his lawyers, cross fingers, it's just a wave and it goes away again. Since the files dropped, she resigned from the Royal Marsden Cancer Charity and got fired Lancaster University. Her team says she was completely deceived and misled. But yeah, this is interesting. Like, this Epstein associate and lover or whatever, she was hoping that Me Too goes away, because nowadays, like, the anti woke, anti SJW right wing, they sort of treated Me Too as, it was something fake. But I think originally it wasn't. Like, clearly all sorts of sexual abuse goes on in Hollywood and other places like that. But it was like, turned to 11, and then there were all sorts of false accusations, like, Johnny Depp and stuff, who, at least as far as I know, it hasn't been proven he did anything wrong or anything. And so this is one of these, like, sort of like the satanic panic in the 80s, that the concern was real there. There were these Satanists doing bad stuff to children, but they tried to pin the blame on Dungeons and Dragons, and of course anybody with half a brain or knows anything about role-playing games knows that that's BS. But that doesn't mean that the threat wasn't real. It's just misdirection, and I think that's the case with Me Too as well. And also, this reading her comments, it just makes me realize that torture can be a good thing. I think we should bring back torture and capital punishment for, heinous crimes. And yeah, she deserves to be punished for her associations with Epstein. And Epstein victim Rina O. Epstein was obsessed with the Ottoman Empire and wouldn't stop bringing it up. He talked constantly about the Ottoman sultans, the harem, and the palace. Topkapi Palace was an obsession for him. He wanted me to examine its architecture, culture, and history closely. He wanted me to study every Ottoman painting, palace architectural structure, and writing of Ottoman women. He told me I would be part of his harem and that I would be his favorite. Uh-huh. He was talking about Babylon. Somebody claims, I thought that Maxwell was the first wife of the harem. Epstein gave somebody two books, one in English, the other in Arabic. Both had a red cover. Epstein tells that the harem, somebody that what a harem is, and says that she will be part of it. You'll be part of Babylon. You'll be a favorite. Okay, so was it Ottoman Empire? I guess it's possible he had an obsession with both of them. Babylon and Ottoman Empire. This gets the nuggin chugging. So all Epstein emails before, during, and after 9/11 have been withheld by the U.S. government. It doesn't mean every email after. We have lots of emails after, I guess, during that period. And I think I saw one email. Was it from 2000? There are some emails from like 2001, but yeah, supposedly there aren't that many, which might suggest something. It's, I think only half of the Epstein files have been released, or roughly half, and some of them have been heavily redacted. So I wonder what kind of connection Epstein had with 9/11. Like, because everybody who was around back then had some sort of connection to 9/11. Not saying that he necessarily orchestrated it or anything, but like it affected people in different ways. Holy shit, from the Epstein files, you offered to buy my baby 6 months into our relationship. So yeah. You made many unusual offers. You offered to buy my baby 6 months into our relationship, and 6 years later, you offered to support my next boyfriend. Do you remember that? It's probably not in any emails either. I don't understand. I understand nobody would believe it. So, from Epstein to, no, it's quoting, yeah. So, who is this other person? That would be arguable, except for the fact that again, it is not like a contrary position does not exist. It exists over an. His spelling is so bad. Postion exists. Yes, you didn't like taking cash, but took everything else. So it's sort of arguing with, I don't know, ex-lover or victim or whatever. Like, of course, somebody might joke about buying somebody's baby, but like, in the context of Epstein, you shouldn't assume that is not something else. Like, a friend offered to change his cat to my son, and I don't think he actually wants to do that trade. Lex Wexner quietly admitted he is demonically possessed in 1995. Whitney Webb just did her first interview of 2026. So yeah. Okay. So she revealed the bombshell that Jeffrey Epstein co-conspirator Lex Wexner quietly dropped 46 years ago. Wexner is interested in and by on own admission, according to this New York Magazine interview that he gave in 1980s, accumulating more and more power and control. And the reason he says that is because he considers himself demonically possessed by what he calls a dibuk, which is Yiddish term for demonic possession. He says he had it when he was a child. It left when he was a teen, and then when he was 40, it makes him want to accumulate more and more power. Given everything we know, that's just the icing on the cake. Why is it 46 years ago? That's not 85. It's not 46. It's 41 years ago. Maybe it's looking at 80s, whatever. So anyway, Whitney Webb says, for the people shitting on me for this, I'm reporting on Wexner's own words in what is honestly a bonkers claim from the 1980s that everyone should at least read before claiming I'm batshit crazy. I covered it in article 2022 as well as my book from the same year. Links in the tweet below. By his own admission, Wexner is the one who's mentally ill, not me for reporting it. Lol. Yeah, well, that's how it works. You tell the truth, you report facts, and you are the problem. Epstein has tech that can erase short-term memory. Jeffrey, you told me about the technology that you tried where they erase your short-term memory. Is this work published? Which lab is it? Joy Ito. Is it like Japanese name? I wonder if Epstein had this machine, who else has access to this kind of machine? Who uses it? How do you use it? Like, do you have to strap somebody down to like a table and put some sort of electrodes on your head, or is it like, can you do it from a distance? Like, let's say, if your politician is at a political debate, could somebody use this on them from the distance so they sound like a fool, so they cannot make good arguments? Because that's the reason. If I sometimes like sound like a fool, that's the only explanation for that. It should be very obvious that Epstein and his confederates used food terminology as a type of code, unless you think Epstein was personally bringing a member of a multi-trillion-dollar crime family cornflakes. So from Epstein to some Rothschild, I forget. It was some difficult name, some unusual name, the Aluda blah blah, whatever. So I have your cereal. Can talk tonight and 22:00. So cereal in Latin is sacrificium. So it's like sacrifice or something. I guess it's cereal would be the Latin pronunciation for this. Yeah, so sacrifice. Interesting. Epstein code words so far, these are just guesses and are open to changing with new info. So white tuna, dead white woman. Okay, cheese pizza, chicken parm, child porn, chicken soup, child sex, hot dog boy, pizza girl, pasta little boy, cream cheese, newborn, organic parrots, ginger girl, organic carrots, not parrots, the ginger, pecorino romano cheese, question mark, Haagen-Dazs chocolate ice cream, I don't know, black kid, maybe, I don't know, TISTSLSJ, Little James, his island, of course, ice cream, male prostitute, walnut, non-white, sauce, orgy, jerky, human flesh. But yeah, these are guesses. How do we deal with the frozen white tuna? Jerky will be with me when we get to the Little James Island. So, Little St. James. I can come tomorrow, take care of white tuna if you'd like. I'm due back in New York City this evening, sent from my Verizon wireless BlackBerry. So between Epstein and who else? Jerky will be with me when I get to LSJ. I can come take care of the white tuna. No, this same. Sorry, on second thought, I will be tomorrow to make jerky happen and prepare white tuna. So are they gonna make jerky out of white tuna? Order pizza for Bobby Slayton. I found it on at 2J's Lakeworth. Cream cheese, baby. Okay. Any good bagel place has it. I tried it, but they don't make it anymore. I will call Lake Worth and PB Gardens. Cream cheese, baby. Just go to 2J's. Do you want a veggie cream cheese tomorrow? I would go look for it now. There are millions of babies, very little good vegetable cream cheese. I don't, what does cream cheese? Newborn. Is vegetable, does it mean something like, or veggie? Does it mean like virgin or something? I don't know. Just know these people, well, an oubliette is too good for them, and also the people protecting them, which is most of our governments and the law enforcement. Something really, really bad is about to come out about him. So Elon Musk said, I agree with the teachings of Jesus. So of course it doesn't mean that he is converted to Christianity. And even if he does, what sort of Christianity is that? Is it the kind that loves Israel more than anything, or is it something that actually cares about the teachings of Jesus and or possibly it's just, sort of virtue signaling because now it's like fashionable sort of to be Christian or something among the right wing and the center right and so forth, and he's, it's lip service possibly. Jeffrey Epstein confirms he and all his relatives are Jewish. Yes, I'm Jewish. 650 relatives all Jewish. Yeah, I have 10 different spellings of Epstein, and I have 2 recessive genes that cause hyper fucking. What? Yeah, I thought he was Russian. Oh well. Ben Shapiro, there's no evidence Epstein trafficked children to his island. Jeffrey Epstein, hold my beer. So what did he say? Your friend Alerza told me about the project she's doing, researching a really bad guy that gets children for sex sent to his island. She almost fainted when I told her that person is me. So that was Epstein said to Masha Drogova, whoever that is. Yeah. No network of human trafficking to rich and influential people. No evidence at all. So names mentioned in Epstein files with emojis showing their ethnicity. So Peter Mandelson, Jewish, Lex Wexner, same, Ehud Barak, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, Alan Dershowitz, Woody Allen, Noam Chomsky, Leon Botstein, who's that? Is he a bot? Thomas Pritzker, Lawrence Summers, Stan Ariely, Leon Black, Harvey Weinstein, David Schoen, Marvin Minsky, Reid Hoffman, Ronald Perlman, Itzhak Perlman, Steven Pinker, Ariane Rothschild. This was the Ariane, the A Rothschild. Ronald Lauder, Lynn Forrester, the Rothschild, Mark Rowan, Reed Weingarten, Darren Indyke, Brett Ratner, Glenn Dupin, Lisa Randall, Mark Zuckerberg, Roman Abramovich, Jess Staley, Ehud Olmert, Chuck Schumer, Howard Lutnick, David Ellison, Larry Fink, Robert Maxwell, Robert Kraft, Jamie Dimon, Alan Greenberg, Barry Grishner, Stephen Hoffenberg, Peter Cohen, Robert Rubin, Shimon Peres, Richard Strauss, Richard Kahn, Sergey Brin, Josh Cooper Ramo, Harry Fish, Eddie Lampert, Prince Andrew. Guess who got arrested? So Prince Andrew, of course, Christian and British. So from a quick look at it, it was clearly a Russian operation. The perps, financiers, lawyers, bankers, and all are super Zionist new Jews. But left continue to not notice that. Look, either you think Jews are just naturally perverts, or you admit this is an Israeli operation, or maybe both. Okay, but now was what was the Mandelson? He was also arrested. So hey, now it's like one Jew arrested. Yay! Yeah, but it's clearly Russians and Mongols and Koreans. They're guilty. FBI has evidence of Howard Lutnick's illegal activities as of 23rd of April 2021. He should be impeached, removed, and jailed. So further investigation by somebody linked Howard Lutnick to illegal activities with JP Morgan, Russian hedge funds, and Russia, and other senior executives in the financial business. Somebody has documented proof. Okay. No context Epstein. Love how it starts from Boris Nikolic to Epstein. Love how it starts. Memo to mature, health-minded vampires. You might want to consider limiting your treats to victims under age 30. So J.E. was right all along. So Jeffrey Epstein was right all along. It's like, if they were like role players or something, people who play role playing games, that sort of comment would be, innocuous. But knowing that it's Epstein friends is probably more literal than one might think. Emails show Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein planning pandemic in 2017. They were working on how to get governments, media, banks, all to get along with it. There's so much small crap. Let's try to, like here, white paper on consumer health expenditures in the USA, white paper on recommendations on neurotechnologies related to chronic degenerative disease, white paper of neurotechnologies as weapons in national intelligence defense, follow-up recommendations and or technical specifications for strain pandemic simulation. Yeah. Epstein files show they were using scopolamine, whatever, often referred to as devil's breath of zombie drug, which is a potent, naturally occurring drug derived from plants in the nightshade family, such as the bocacero tree, used in 1988 movie The Serpent and the Rainbow. Yeah, this sort of stuff. Trumpet plans. In 2014 email, Epstein asked a contact to ask Chris about my trumpet plans for a nursery. Trumpet plants refers to Brugmansia or Datura species angel's trumpet, which contains high levels of scopolamine. So scopolamine, so it's also a transdermal system. When used as a day trip or rubber drug, is called devil's breath, can cause hallucinations, memory erasure, total loss of free will. Yeah. Even the victims don't remember their victims. So from Joy Ito, this is the technology to erase short-term memory, and Epstein said many transmagnetic stimulation is the device. Much work done on using it for trauma, amnesia, etc. Yeah, so I wonder how much how does this stuff work? Like, is it used on, is there like some, satellite dish? Like, I don't, are they using 5G or something to cause short-term amnesia to people? That's why there are no protests against the Epstein class of people, or what's going on? So where are the protests? Protests for sex traffic, missing kids, nothing. Protests for everything else. Yeah, lots of people. And yeah, that's one of the hard red pills, in my opinion, in this matter, because it's not just that it's the people against the psychotic pedo elites, but I think it's like it's the schizos or the autists, as they say, versus the psychos and normies, because I think it's also the normies who are like, they're part of the problem. They're not simply, misguided or something, because they sort of want this, because they just want their comfy way to, grill away in peace without being bothered, and they don't care about right or wrong or anything like that. So I think like, and the solution then would be to have like a, proper ruling class who is actually moral, because I think that's why in various in across the world, in various kinds of societies, in historically speaking, there have been various kinds of class systems, because I don't think like the idea of all being equal in some sense of the word, I think it's just complete BS. And that's part of the reason why we are in this mess as we are, because we should recognize that many people, even like they're basically children when it comes to larger issues, and they lack any proper ability to understand them or act prudently to fix these problems. Like when it comes to big social issues, they lack the capability of doing anything else except what the TV tells them to do. But let's move on from the Epstein stuff to what's next here. Oh, just European shenanigans. So few different kind of stories from few different places in Europe. So let's see what we got. So the Netherlands is increasingly involved in the Ukraine conflict. We see military convoys heading east daily. Europe is escalating the conflict to justify its economic failures. Dutch pilots in Ukraine, if any, are legitimate targets. So this is Russian embassy in Netherlands. Volunteers from the Netherlands fighting for the Kiev regime, regardless of where they are fighting and in what capacity, are legitimate military targets and criminals for Russia. So of course this isn't unbiased source if it saying that this Netherlands is sending troops to Ukraine to fight, but then again there is no unbiased source anywhere. And the Druzhba 1 station at Kaleikino, the keynote of the Druzhba oil pipeline, was blown up by Ukraine. The oil pipeline accounts for 86% of Hungary's oil consumption, almost 100% of Slovakia's oil consumption. As a response, Slovakia announced it will halt electricity supplies to Ukraine. So yeah, Alec asks a good question. So Ukraine is at war with and attacking Europe now too. Apparently, if this claim is true, yeah, we should just all say fuck Ukraine and let them deal with Russia. But like Ukraine has become like Israel for EU countries basically, or for most of Europe, even UK, which is no longer in EU, because Americans, they want to sacrifice all they got. Like that's the highest dopamine hit they can ever get, is by giving stuff to Israel, and for EU it's more now is Ukraine. We just want to cock for Ukraine for some reason. Hungary blocks European Union's 90 trillion. I'm not sure if that. I'm not going to start counting the zeros, but it's 10 zeros. So it's, I guess, 90 trillion loan to Ukraine. That's good. German Chancellor Merz demands that people use their real names on social media. We in politics also use our real names, so I expect the same from everyone who criticizes our country. That's very nice, Friedrich, but laws protect politicians from insults in Germany. You use AI startup that automatically sues people on X for insults, post below. Bad posts lead to police raids and punishments. So no, nobody will use their full name, because you and your colleagues sue people for even mild insults meant as criticism. Yeah, like somebody called an actually fat German politician woman fat, and then he was arrested. Like saying a factual statement gets you arrested in France. And I've said this before, but like ever since I was a kid, I was told that this is the kind of behavior that Nazi Germany did. But apparently, even after Nazis defeated, this sort of behavior happens in Germany. So maybe the Nazi regime would be superior because at least they wouldn't inundate Germany with foreigners. They wouldn't try to replace the German population with foreigners. So, like, it might be oppressive and authoritarian, but at least they're not trying to, like, genocide their own nation. Yeah. And hundreds of nationalists are outside an Antifa bar tonight chanting remains for Quentin. France is about to erupt. So there was like was it some security guard or something, some right winger who was killed by Antifa, and now they're not happy. This is like, yeah, 3 days ago, so I haven't really heard much since then. Like, did they just have a little bit of fiery but mostly peaceful protest here? Haven't really heard. Yeah, Quentin Deranque, whatever, deranged 23-year-old far-right activist was fatally beaten in Lyon February 13th, 2026, after a protest against left-wing politician. Authorities arrested 11 suspects linked to ultra-left Antifa groups like La Jeune Garde. Sparked nationalist protests demanding justice, including rally outside the Antifa bar. Left-wing parties deny involvement. The streets of Dresden have just flooded with German patriots. Brave Germans are carrying banners honoring the young French patriot that was killed by Antifa. Rallies sparked by his killing are now spreading throughout the whole of Europe. Yes, that's good, but has to be more than simply walking in protest. That doesn't really do anything. But well, okay, it's just something like, if there are millions of people, because the media wants you to think that you're in a small minority if you oppose all of these insane policies of the current European regime, but it's like shows that no, you're not such a fringe weirdo that you hold these opinions, that many people share these opinions. And French President Macron says free speech is pure bullshit if nobody knows how you are guided through the so-called free speech, especially when it is to be guided from one hated speech to another hated speech. What? Okay, what he said is bullshit, but yeah, this guy belongs in an oubliette. Like, I don't even want to try to come up with an argument to his incomprehensible statement. I am assuming it's transcribed properly because this is just bad English on top of it all. A little account set up by Subvert Restore, and guess who they're QTing. So there's Restore Britain, Inevitable West, Reactionary Jewish Zoomers, fans of Robert Lowe, and so in Tel Aviv. So Restore Britain, Friends of Israel, Inevitable West. Great read. This is exactly what we're pushing as Restore Britain builds national structure and starts to flesh out policy. There will be no quarter given to Hamas. Coming back this again, leaving aside that Restore's foreign policy page's slop foreign policy would have been useful to have straight off the bat to deter lot of cranks, being Rupert Lowe is broadly pro-Israel. So yeah, this is like, Rupert Lowe has said a lot of good things that people resonate with, but like if he's not willing to oppose Israel and associated people, his party is going to be worthless. That's what makes or breaks it. All right, but let's move on to Neanderthals among us. This isn't so much news. This is biology or perhaps history and whatnot. So, oh my God, Jeffrey Epstein admits he's a Neanderthal in the emails. So yeah, somebody says Neanderthal, and Valerie Post says Neanderthal, and he replies guilty. Then again, maybe I don't want the visual cover. Was this? I have an active imagination. You would have to, okay, whatever. But yeah, he's Neanderthal. Of course, to play devil's advocate, back in the day, I haven't heard it recently, but like, you called somebody a Neanderthal meant that you're basically, a brute, barbarian or something. So it might be some, flirting and stuff, but, that's not all. And of course, let's just go to, yeah, this one. Okay. So are the Neanderthals still Jews? This is an article from 1997. Slate article from 97 calls Jews being Neanderthals history's big secret. Also reveals that they are not direct human ancestors. They are a different line from different world. The bigger secret is that there is no such thing as a human. Okay, I'm not sure about that, but this is not news for me. I heard this stuff at least a decade ago, but it's like I do think, and it's not like Korobochka or Cerno here has revealed something new, but he has put up several tweets on the matter, which is good, which I appreciate. So read the press report on Julia about DNA of Neanderthals, and you quickly grasp how the new findings suggest that this branch of humanoids is much more distantly related to modern Homo sapiens than you might have believed. They are not even direct human ancestors. Now you must apply these findings, examine the implications for the world around you. Specifically, you must weigh their effect on certain theories in circulation, among them that Neanderthals still walk or lumber among us. Indeed, that they have maintained their cohesion through the ages and still constitute a group apart, and most importantly, that this group of living, lumbering Neanderthals is the Jews. And see, I don't think this slate is some, Hitler Jugend publication. I think this is like a, written from a Jewish perspective, and Charles Paul Freund sounds a bit Jewish as well. So, okay, if I was to say that Jews are not human, will I get in trouble? I can just point to this, like, no, they're saying it themselves. So from Epstein to Martin Novak, Jeffrey, yeah, from Novak. Okay, Jeffrey, I'm back from Rome. I'm in Vienna now. We'll be back in Boston on Wednesday. I met Svante Pääbo from Leipzig, so he's a paleontologist or something. He sequences old bones. He got a complete Neanderthal genome. You would like him. He knows Church. Is it like a guy named Church? The two of them could build a Neanderthal person. So they want to build like a, I guess, original kind of Neanderthal. Here is Jeffrey Epstein talking about an award-winning biological about sequencing Neanderthal DNA. He was planning on breeding Neanderthal babies at Zorro Ranch, and this is 2012. Jeffrey was more of a doer than a talker, so who knows if they bred Neanderthals. Jake Shields' typing abilities reminds me a bit too much of Epstein, but at least Shields has the excuse he's probably been punched in the head many times. And hey, I sort of like the guy, but I am a card-carrying member of the language Nazi party, so it still sometimes bothers me, all these typos and stuff. So Jeffrey Epstein to Kathleen Remler. I'm the Neanderthal problem solver. I'm the naked guy at the end of the boat ride down the river, burning my clothes if necessary to keep others warm, not letting you shiver. Yeah, so like if you just take the sentence out of context, I'm a Neanderthal problem solver. So it could be interpreted in two ways, that either you're a guy who solves problems caused by Neanderthals, or you're a Neanderthal who solves problems. But yeah, I think it means that he is the Neanderthal based on the context. But of course, he might still be meaning it in the sense that, just playing devil's advocate, in the sense that, he's barbarian, brutish barbarian, tough guy. By the way, Svante Pääbo is Swedish Neanderthal who was given the role of sequencing the Neanderthal's genome. This creature discovered a fact buried by most. Neanderthals were rendered close to extinction by using bioweapons delivered by exosomes. In this era, this method of delivering information between organisms horizontally and vertically is deliberately obscured and called a virus, the coronavirus. That's why they wanted vengeance using the same method, but they blew it. As long as you never give these demons access to your body, they cannot harm you, but we can still harm them. That's why they're so afraid of losing control. But yeah, look at this guy's mouth. Like, does he look human to you? It's like some Nephilim or something from, Attack on Titan or Assault on Titan, whatever the name was. But yeah, I've heard of Svante Pääbo before, but I think this is the first time I'm seeing his picture, or at least if I've seen it, I didn't think much about it, except he looked like a dweeb. Like, I guess he looks a bit more normal, but like, look at his mouth. There's something like inhuman about the eyes and stuff. Neanderthal. So Michael Cohen says, and he sounds Jewish, looks a bit Jewish in the small picture. There is no bigger lie about us Ashkenazim that we are Europeans. We are most distinct of all races. We are not even of the human race, let alone Europeans. We are utterly unique. Our features only blend with humans. Our facial features and proportions infinitely more perfect. We are Anunnakim or Nephilim, and our DNA is of the gods. Hey, he said it. He's not human. So, I'm not even racist for my opinion on these people. We have extrasensory perception, heightened awareness, and increased sentience. We cannot be defeated by Gentiles any more than humans can be by other mammals. And I think you guys deep in our hearts know it, and it drives you mad. Well, I guess partially it's true that, the vast majority of Goyim are dumb cattle, at least compared to these people. Like, they just buy their lies no matter what. And this is why we cannot have any kind of democracy, because we need to have people in charge who actually have, I don't know, capability of rational thought and self-preservation and all that. Why the fuck does the Penrose Institute have human, Neanderthal, and animal models? Where are they getting Neanderthal stem cells? They blew their cover in Epstein emails, and the DOJ didn't know what I knew, so they didn't censor it. Get digging now. Oomfies. I don't know what the fuck is an oomfie. So nanobrain technology. Our approach is made possibly due to the recent improvements in nanotechnology modeling. We intend to further enhance three-axial probe chips, relatively speaking, for neuron culture for human, Neanderthal, and animal models. A range of different neurons can be generated from stem cells. DNA sequence can be spliced in the neurons to vary their genetic makeup. Culture can be kept alive for several months, allowing training and character or something. Okay, whatever. Epstein was obsessed with Neanderthals and called himself one. Here, a fellow demon physicist and MIT professor, Neil Gershenfeld, the Star, emails him a story about resurrecting Neanderthals. Neanderthal baby surrogate article. So I assume you've seen it from this Gershenfeld to Epstein. Met with George Church afterwards. So yeah, Church is a name in the previous email. Shared our Neil fan club secret handshake. He asked, though, 20% of time to think sounds like a SIG proportion. This is SIG proportion, SIG, when there are so many other things like sleeping, eating, not a lot left. Okay. So Neanderthal baby surrogate mother story isn't true. Okay. In case you're wondering why the Rothschild family have been waging a war on milk and now cows, Neanderthals were lactose intolerant, and this is what ultimately lost them the war. The calories were far more expensive than ours. Cows are Cro-Magnon superwomen. So Neanderthals are generally lactose intolerant. Yeah, because it was the Rothschilds, right, that caused like the mass pasteurization of milk or something like that. An American, what's this? So American scientist gets up, walks over, and joins the conversation. He says, working on the human genome and is keen to get hold of some of Bobby Fischer's DNA. So Bobby Fischer was, the very good chess player who didn't really like Neanderthals, but some say that he was one of them either. Others claim he wasn't. I'm not quite sure. So Robert Horwitz networking with Jews at Davos 2012 to get Fisher's DNA. Okay, why? Let's reload these. History lesson. So we have some folklore. In Germanic folklore, the trolls and witches were actually based on Jews. This began in the Middle Ages, 1144, when a case in Norwich, England, spread across Europe, leading to pogroms and expulsion of Jewish communities. It was said that Jews kidnapped, tortured, and ritually sacrificed Christian children to use their blood in religious rituals such as making matzah for Passover. They were described as having large noses, being greedy, hoarding treasure, and living on the outskirts of society, plotting against Christians. Many stories were created as a warning after missing Christian children were found to be the victims of Jewish sacrifice/ritual murder across Europe. This happened over centuries. Hansel and Gretel, the witch's oven, and child eating directly echo the stories where Jews were accused of baking children or using their remains. Similar motifs appear in other tales, like the witch in Rapunzel, Mother Gothel, kidnapping a child for magical purposes. The Grimm's collection itself includes stories such as The Jew in the Brambles and legends like Girl Who Was Killed by Jews. This is not anti-Semitic, it's just a historical fact. Truth matters. And yeah, if Gilgamesh, I don't think this is from the Epstein files. I've heard about this stuff years ago as well. If Gilgamesh and Nephilim aren't real, why does Hillary Clinton's leaked email show she requested the location of Gilgamesh's body, Gilgamesh's resurrection chamber, and the location of the buried Nephilim that were discovered in 2003, right before the Iraq War? What else are they hiding? So Denetra the Senegal, requesting documents pertaining to the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh's location of his body and the location of the buried Nephilim. Here it doesn't say Hillary Clinton, but yeah, I think it's from the earlier Hillary emails, or I don't remember when exactly this information came public, but it's been a while. Remember when they had to invent new brain disorder to explain why some people began noticing demons? Demon face syndrome. So demon face syndrome, prosopometamorphosia. So what is demon face syndrome? Demon face syndrome is a rare brain disorder that affects how a person sees faces. If you have this condition, other people's features might seem warped or scary like a demon, even though they look completely normal to others. This disorder is extremely rare. In the past century, there have been fewer than 100 cases reported worldwide. No, I think this is either means that because there are demons among us and some people they're spiritually attuned enough to perceive them, or perhaps just that perhaps demons will be I don't know, possessing people more blatantly or something, and when people see their effects they will just like, oh no, I'm just delusional or something. Otherwise this sounds so absurd. Yeah, but still going back to the fairy tales and the allegation that Jews kidnap people for their rituals and stuff, and also there have been claims in Europe's past, or accusations that Jews have poisoned whales, and I have discussed this matter a long time ago, don't remember when exactly, but it's like I just find it weird that historians tend to assume that it's all fake. Like there's various like various accounts from all over Europe making these claims. So like, wouldn't it be, prudent to assume that okay, maybe some of it is true, but some of it is made up and stuff. But like according to mainstream history, it's all fake. So I guess that's what we have to believe, right? Just the experts. They're never wrong or biased or anything. But let's move on. Okay, let's go to Korea. The worst Korea. Worst Korean president jailed because he had like the martial law. Was it like a year ago already? And then he was kicked out of office and stuff. So South Korea's former president Yoon Suk Yoon Suk Yeol found guilty of leading an insurrection and sentenced to life imprisonment for declaring martial law in 2024. Oh, it's already that long ago. So life in imprisonment. Like, see, this sort of stuff makes me feel like he was probably the good guy in this particular exchange, that he wanted to get rid of some foreign invaders, whatever country they are from, or whoever, what agency or organization they are beholden to. Like, he wanted to get rid of them, but alas, he wasn't allowed to do so. And just to remind you that like pretty much every South Korean president for like 30 years or something, or more than 30, 40 years more, like, they've been assassinated or had to resign in shame or arrested or something like that. So the South Korean president Yoon Suk Yeol has reportedly been sentenced to life in imprisonment. I can believe that someone who worked seriously for the future of South Korea would receive such punishment. President Yoon was the only leader who clearly said, Japan has already apologized enough. Let's move forward together. In Japan, President Yoon is highly respected and popular. Well, of course, in Japan because of that, but also I agree with the message. It's like, because Japan lost that particular war like Germany, so now they're the culprits for everything, but it's not that simple. Anyway, how can a country sentence such an outstanding leader to life in prison? This makes no sense. Well, yeah, because it's an occupied country by Satanists. They 8 goddesses and who knows what kind of occult bullshit is going on in South Korea. And hey, I like Korea and Japan both, but like that's why I want the best for them. Don't want them to be controlled by these evil people. But yeah, it's like in the West, controlled by these demonic Neanderthals. And according to this guy, I don't know whether this is true, it has been revealed that PM Takaichi is controlled by a genocidal Korean cult called the Unification Church, Moonies. Their end goal is to completely genocide purebred Japanese and Europeans to achieve global peace. So I don't know. I have to see whether this is actually like revealed. Like, is this like a big scandal now in Japan? Because I just heard about this like, a couple of hours ago. I haven't had time to look into it. But that's what this guy alleges. I think that's the last. Yeah, all right. Let's move on to Planet of the Neanderthals, or rather Israel Delendayest. Israel has to be destroyed, the political entity, because while it exists, we will be controlled by non-human entities, basically. Hey, it's their own admission, basically. So when Iceland wanted to ban circumcision, the American Congress intervened. When Ireland tried to rename a park, Lindsey Graham threatened Ireland on behalf of America. Now our ambassador is literally screaming at Belgium for not allowing rabbis to suck baby dicks. So what? Ambassador Bill White, anti-Semitism is unacceptable in any form and must be rooted out of society. So I guess because, the Moels or whatever, when they do circumcision on babies, they actually suck their dicks. Look into it if you don't know. So leading House members urged Iceland to back down on circumcision ban. And Graham Dublin's move against Herzog Park shows cesspool of anti-Semitism. So they want to remove the name Herzog to something else or change it, and that's anti-Semitism now, apparently. Okay, let's change the browser. And man criticizes Jews. Jewish judge imprisons him, proves his point. It's gonna become 110, isn't it? So Sydney father, I think I've reported on this before, but Sydney father Brandon Koshal has been jailed for 1 year with a non-parole period of 9 months for a 42nd Australia Day speech where he said Jews are the greatest enemy of this nation. Was he wrong? I guess not. He has the parasitic judge. So yeah, it's because the Jewish judge is Freund, Sharon Freund. Yeah, they can't call him a liar. Have you gone down the Black Plague rabbit hole? Okay, yeah, this is, yeah. An appendix to this chronicle includes the Confession of Agimet of Geneva, October 1348, recorded after interrogation. He admitted receiving poison from a rabbi in Toledo, scattering it into wells in Venice, Calabria, Apulia, elsewhere, under orders to spread it across regions. So yeah, I don't think it's rat. Well, you could argue it's rats that caused the plague, but different kinds of rats maybe. And any other recent pandemics. Reporter, should Israel be expected to even pay 1 penny to rebuild Gaza? The U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, absolutely not. If anything, there ought to be reparations for Israel. Oy vey, you made my hand hurt when I punched your baby. You give me money. Oy vey, antisemitisms. So you helped nuke the 2 most Christian cities in Japan, effectively killing out Christianity in Japan in its entirety, killing nearly 200,000 mostly innocent people to prop up a bunch of Jews who hate God and hate you. The nuking of Hiroshima and Nagasaki was and will forever be one of the worst events in human history, worse than almost anything that has ever happened to us in America that should enrage any self-respecting Christian. I agree, except I don't think it's bad. Like whether the victims were Christian or Shintoist or whatever, it was bad, but it does highlight the fact that it probably like played a part in the motivations of the people who planned where to drop the nukes in Japan back in the day. That I guess it wasn't a coincidence they were the most Christian cities in Japan. And the Israeli bobsled team was disqualified after lying to judges. One athlete falsely claimed to be ill in order to justify the inclusion of a substitute, cited official sources. So yeah, just your regular Jewish tricks. But at least they got caught. Are they gonna claim that it's anti-Semitism? North Korea has reportedly executed 2 Israeli spies. If this is true, this is truly the best Korea, unironically. Because South Korea would probably give them medals or something. Laura Loomer makes shocking claim threat towards Tucker Carlson that 100% of law firms in the US are controlled by Jewish people, so better watch out for incoming lawsuits. Somehow I don't think this is the win she thinks it is. So yeah, good luck finding a law firm that doesn't have a Jewish partner. He's accusing Tucker of making some defamatory claims about something. Don't care about what. But yeah, this is the anti-Semitic canard we learned as teenagers that no, that's not true. But apparently it's true according to this Jew. Bishop Athanasius Schneider says that much of the Novus Ordo, I guess it's like Vatican II stuff, I think, liturgy was created according to a Protestant Jewish prayer and did not previously exist. What is a Protestant Jewish prayer? I don't know, but I guess it's good they're admitting that it's not Christian or Catholic or whatever, that it's outsiders. Also, Masons supposedly infiltrated the Catholic Church like a century ago. Anyone explain what the fuck is going on at Max? So Western civilization, USA, Christianity, Christ, Judaism. Yeah. Max indeed. What the Jews fear most is happening in real time. Japanese are waking up to 9/11, Epstein, and Mossad. So I hope this is true. Like, of course, like, if some Japanese person makes a tweet about stuff like that, doesn't mean that, the Japanese are waking up. Maybe there's like few people talking about it, but hey, I hope it's not an exaggeration. Alan Dershowitz, if Jeffrey Epstein told me he was a Mossad agent, I would have got him off completely. Piers Morgan, hang on, are you saying if Epstein said he was Mossad, he could get away with being a pedo? Dershowitz, that's right. Yeah, well, what can you say to that? These Neanderthals, that's how they think. Maybe you should listen to them sometimes. Male birds that eat mercury-contaminated food show surprising homosexual behavior, scientists have found. And they put mercury in vaccines, by the way. Yeah, curious coincidence, surely. Moon will turn blood red for more than 56 minutes on March 3rd, visible to nearly 6 billion people. All right, interesting. Is there going to be some sort of blood sacrifice event on that day? Usually it doesn't happen when it's that obvious that you would expect, but anyway, this is one of my favorite quotes ever. A country has the Jews it deserves. Just as mosquitoes can thrive and settle only in swamps, likewise the former can only thrive in the swamps of our sins. Exactly. Because most dumb guys are, that they don't care about, like, they only, they don't want to, like, let their thought process, like, calculate the whole formula. They see like, oh, Muslims do bad stuff, maybe let's get rid of the Muslims. And I'm not saying not to get rid of the Muslims, but like that won't fix anything, or like, and nor will it, save Europe or whatever. If France or Germany is 100% white, that's not enough, because there's still some, internal reflection that has to be done. But okay, I heard my son wake up, but I'll go get him and then I'll come back and we can go to gaming and entertainment news. I'll be right back. Yeah, I have a little baby who is tired on my lap right now, but let's go have a look of gaming and entertainment news and tech stuff, IT stuff. Valve wins lawsuit against Rothschild and associate entities with jury, agreeing they violated an anti-patent troll protection act. So this is based, like that stuff like this makes me wanna support Valve even more, because there are some complaints to be made about Steam and stuff, but like if they're beating the Rothschilds. That's or if the Rothschilds are suing them, then it's they must be doing something right. So the Rothschilds fear the gamers. Valve just won their lawsuit against Lee Rothschild and his companies. The jury found they violated Washington's Patent Trial Prevention Act with bad faith infringement claims and breached a prior licensing agreement. Valve awarded about 150,000 USD in damages. Well, it's not much, that's like peanuts for Rothschilds, who can basically print as much money as they want. But still, it's a moral victory. And Vicky Shotbolt, CEO of Parent Zone and lead claimant in the £656 million UK class action lawsuit against Valve over Steam's 30% cut, stated, Steam is a big, important platform for a big and important ecosystem. It needs to cooperate fairly, and it's clearly not. I'm just wondering, who is this Vicky Shotbolt? Does she have some association with Rothschilds? Like, I guess it's 30% can seem like a lot, but uh, if you're a small developer or something, but still, uh, Steam is still the best gaming platform there, and they actually do some good stuff. And I just sort of question the like the motivations of Vicky Shotbot. Is it really that it bothers her that Steam is taking 30%, or is it like an excuse, like I'm trying to search for the word in my mind, but I can't find that certain word, whatever. So Google is set to restrict side-loading unverified apps on certified Android devices starting September 2026 in select countries, with global expansion to follow. Unverified apps can still be installed normally for now. Following backlash over limiting Android's openness, Google added an advanced flow for experienced users to bypass restrictions with additional warnings and steps. So yeah, it's side loading. Why is it side loading that you install programs onto your computer? Like, it shouldn't be called like this is deceptive language. Just like, of course you should be able to install whatever you want to your device. But of course they don't want you to. They want you to be a good consumer, slave that just does what the master tells them. As Stop Killing Games is launching NGOs in the European Union and the US, we're not gonna go away. So I think maybe it happened. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. There was like the hearing with the EU Council or something like that. I don't really know what went on there, how well it went or badly or anything. But like launching NGOs, I can't help but think that maybe it's gonna be taken over by people who care more about pronouns than games. It's just a word, the term NGO rubs me the wrong way. So in short, Poland to bash pro Stop Killing Games build as good. EU and US now have well-funded SKG NGOs. What is an SKG? I don't know. Famous EU lawyer explained that Killing Games violates multiple EU laws. Well, that's good if it actually violates laws. EU Parliament hearing in the next few days. Well, this was already, so yeah, I think the hearing happened already. And Asha Sharma, the new head of Xbox, is an AI executive with no background in gaming. And of course, fairly young-looking Indian woman. That's the winning strategy, right? New Microsoft gaming CEO wants to prioritize games with deep emotional resonance and distinct point of view. She highlighted stories that make players feel something, citing Firewatch as a personal example of a title that truly resonated with her emotionally. Yeah, I haven't played Firewatch, but what I've seen of it, it's gonna. I think I saw like a short gameplay clip back in the day, and to me it felt like bored and disgusting. Like exactly like it's so emotional. It's like no, well, games make me feel many things, but no, for the kind of game like Firewatch, maybe it's good. I don't know, but I'm not interested. And here Storm Slayer says Asher Sharma is not a real person. Microsoft is under control of a sentient AI masquerading as the CEO. I know it sounds crazy. It's what they want you to believe. Every event has led up to this. Judgment Day is upon us. I don't know how serious he is or anything. Oh yeah, because she had said like yeah just a few days ago beep boop beep boop. The Xbox CEO just started gaming on the platform this year, so doesn't say here when it was created, but and it's like 10,000 Microsoft points. Some people say it's a lot for that such a short period, but I have no idea how these Microsoft points or Xbox points work because I don't use Xbox. But yeah, some people are concerned that it's gonna kill Xbox, but I think Xbox has been shit for a long time already. Never really cared about Xbox, but I guess it would be good if Xbox didn't suck. But like, hey, if she kills Xbox, that's good because I've been waiting for the games industry to crash and burn for almost 2 decades, and if she's hastening it, then that's good. And Telegram will be fully blocked in Russia as of April the 1st. Is it a joke? But it's sort of ironic because the guy who made Telegram, he's Russian, although I don't think he's really lived in Russia in many years. But just to point out that the guy was also arrested in France. Was it last year? So I guess nobody likes him because he makes like app that has some encryption and stuff. But yeah, it's not like I think Russia is um, that great either. But it's still I hate Russia less than the establishment in the rest of Europe. Um, and this guy says about Rockstar. I don't think gamers really understand how bad of a state the video game industry is in right now. The Rockstar developer I'm interviewing next week has been unemployed for a year. He can't find work, and this is someone who worked on LA Noire, Red Dead Redemption 1, GTA 5, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Even with an impressive resume, he can even get interviews. I wasn't exaggerating when I said we are in the midst of an extinction level event of talent in the game industry. Okay, assuming the guy actually is talented and he wasn't there just to, I don't know, bring coffee when working on those games, then yeah, I guess it sucks for him. But like, if it causes the crash of the industry, maybe in the long run, that's good. Or well, of course, it could be that he's a really talented straight white man, and that's why they don't want him. I guess that's also a possibility. But I thought that at this point, the understanding that yeah, maybe we do try to actually make good products so people buy them, but maybe they still don't care. Discord's third-party vendor ID verification system Persona just got hacked. Anyone who did verification with Persona could be extensively compromised. So what's the like like is there something a user can do because like all these online platforms they want you to dox yourself to use it, but when this happens, when your data gets hacked, can you sue them? Do you get compensated? What happens? Discord's age verification vendor Persona got hacked. OpenAI plus government, US government plus Persona have been running identity surveillance since November 2023. Anyone who's verified age on Discord is now traceable. Nothing is private anymore. Yeah, well, maybe you shouldn't verify yourself on Discord. But didn't it have something to do with Peter Thiel's Palantir as well? I think I talked about that last week. Discord has ended its partnership with Persona after backlash over a UK AIDS verification trial that has raised serious privacy concerns. Experiment is over, all related data has been deleted, Persona is no longer involved, except that it was already hacked and lots of people's data was leaked, I guess. And the CEO of Persona, the company that processes your passport, selfie, facial geometry, so you can get a verified badge on LinkedIn, doesn't have a profile picture on LinkedIn. Let that sink in. Hey, sort of rhymes or something. And Colorado sorry. Colorado Democrats have introduced new legislation which would require operating systems such as Linux or Windows to perform age verification at the system level. Age attestation on computing devices would apply to all operating systems, open source or proprietary Linux, FreeBSD, Mac OS, etc. Require the ODS to set the user's age upon account creation, store that within the system. Require the OS to provide an API for application developers to request an age or bracket for the user. Institute $7,500 fine for intentional violation of the bill, which would include refusing to implement age verification and API. This version of the bill does not indicate how the age of the user would be verified outside of a good faith declaration of age. That language is currently vague and open to wide interpretation. These people belong in an oubliette. It's like I fucking hated that that you have to have an account on your computer anyways. Like, you know, back in the day when on a Commodore 64 or Amiga 500, you didn't have an account. Like sure, I get it. It makes sense if you're at a workplace or at your, you know, university. Like, yeah, you have an account. It's good to have the option, but I wish I could have my computer without having any freaking account at all. But if you use Windows, like I still sadly use, then you're stuck with it. So let's finish this sentence. The only way to do this will be mandatory ID verification across the entire internet. So Musk says if requiring ID to vote is racist/sexist, as they falsely claim, then so is requiring ID for anything else, which they do all the time. The same people saying no to ID for voting are the ones who demanded vaccination ID. Yeah, exactly. They're just happy slaves who are enemies of freedom. In Lipetsk, a giant labubu was burned during Christian Shrovetide, whatever that is. This is a purification ritual, symbolic victory over dark forces, as locals say. Well, yeah, it's I don't know what to say. Like, if you don't see, like, you know, some people saying that labubu is like, you know, modern version of the ancient demon Pazuzu or something, and I don't know if that's true, but just like looking at like seeing how popular it is, or at least was, like a year or whenever year ago when it came out, or 2 years, however it's been a thing, and how ugly it is. Like you just, you know, have to sense how demonic it is. Like I don't know any specific how this stuff is clearly evil. Sony shut down the developers Bluepoint Games, known for erasing male and female options in Demon's Souls remake. The company is now Type F, identified as flopped. Yeah, I guess that's good then. And welcome to Doll Town, ladies and gentlemen. You did it, we did it. So the game is on Steam right now. Because I think last week I was reporting how they weren't like Steam. They were supposed to be able to publish the game on Steam, but Steam hadn't responded. But now they published their game, so it's there. Have a look if you're interested. And Serial Experiment Lane spiritual sequel Despera is confirmed to start production after being announced in 2009. Because I think that somewhere it said the main writer or designer or whatever, he died in like 2013. The production committee has already been formed. However, many projects are being worked on, so it's difficult to free up studios. I don't know. Production committee doesn't sound very creative to me, but let's see if it's good. I should probably rewatch Serial Experiments Lane. It's been almost 2 decades since I watched it, and back then didn't understand much of it. Official teaser trailer for the next Neon Genesis Evangelion anime series. Nier franchise creator Yakataro is writing the project, animated by Cloverworks and Kara, directed by Kazuya Tsurumaki and Toko Yatabe. Some people are interested. I don't really like, I liked Evangelion, the original stuff back in the day. Like, I haven't really watched any Evangelion since like year 2003 or 4 when a friend from university just basically shoved the DVD box in my hand and said, "Watch this," and it was decent. But like, I don't know about this, reboots, remakes, whatever they have. Like the third chick with the pink plug suit, I don't know what her name is or anything. So, and also there's another, like there was some Evangelion mini movie, short movie that was showed to some audience, and then somebody filmed it without permission, and then they're threatening people who that you cannot share it online or whatever. Then I I don't know. That sounds like BS to me. Fun fact: in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, they censored scenes that showed Sephiroth slashing, stabbing Aerith or Ares, as we say in Europe, and Tifa because they think it's not appropriate to show violence against women. They went out of their way to add scenes that weren't in the original game, where Sephiroth stabs Barret and Cheng, letting fans know that it was more important not to offend anybody instead of respecting the original material. So they censored the most iconic scene in the whole game. Like I knew, I hated this because Final Fantasy VII is the original is my favorite game of all time. So this remake just offended me, and now I don't want to play it, but now I'm justified. I'm vindicated because it's woke garbage. Nobody told me before that it's woke garbage because the only people are who like this game, this re-rape of the game, are woke garbage themselves. The subhuman scum. I can say that. I don't want to get too animated with my son on my lap, so I guess I'll move on. And Christoph Tolkien's view on Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. So I rewatched the trilogy just like a month ago, so it's quite fresh in my mind. So he said they eviscerated the book by making it an action movie for young people 15 to 25. And Christopher says regretfully, Tolkien has become a monster devoured by his own popularity and absorbed by the absurdity of our time. Christopher Tolkien observed sadly the chasm between the beauty and seriousness of the work and what it has become has gone too far for me. Such commercialization has reduced the aesthetic and philosophical impact of this creation to nothing. There is only one solution for me, turning my head away. So, and well, I think the interesting bit is that, there are many comments here. Now I can show them, or can I? Yeah, I'm not logged in on this browser, so I can't show them. But like many people, getting really angry at, at this guy for defending his father's life's work, which is silly. Like you're free to disagree with him, but like they're like, what has he done? He's just riding on his father's coattails. And it's like I'm not saying I agree with him completely, but I understand where he's coming from because, like, one very obvious part is like removing Tom Bombadil, and some people have said it's like Tolkien's own representation of himself, and it's sort of like removing the original author from his work, sort of like The Shining and removing Stephen King from the movie. But of course, I haven't read The Shining book, but I presume that Kubrick's movie is better than the book. Anyways, so yeah, I think Christopher Tolkien here has a good point, but I still, think like I think that the spirit of the movie, yeah, that probably suffered, but like as a fun adventure movie, is still pretty good. Like Peter Jackson did many things right still. Like simply the fact that because before the movie came out, people were skeptical that he could make hobbits and dwarves look good like they should. Um, like that's one reason why nobody really had made a Lord of the Rings movie before, except that one cartoon from the 70s. Um, because it wasn't easy to make hobbits look good, but I think he nailed that. So he did lots of stuff right with the movie, but still, yeah, there were like and but when I rewatched the movies, I was thinking like, because it's been decades since I read any of the books. So I was wondering, like, how was this in the book? Like, is it like this? And especially, well, when Eowyn kills the Witch King, like, I didn't like how it was simplified. Like, I'm no man, but it's much more poetic in in the actual book. Like but I am no man. You look upon yourself a woman or something like that. Like, yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes, because I remember that was in the like Middle Earth the Wizards. It was a collectible card game I used to play when I was a teenager, and the quote was on the Eowyn card, and I really liked it because it was very well written. So definitely some of the language was dumbed down for the movie, and some of it I understand is a movie, like you have to cut corners at times and change some things, but like not all of the changes were for the better. And speaking of, Tolkien or The Lord of the Rings is sort of in pseudo Middle Ages, so we can talk about this as well. So you work nearly 4 times as much as a medieval peasant. At the time, laborer could provide all the necessities for his family for a year by working 14 weeks. So was this like, 3.5 months or something? The rest of the time was his to do as he pleased. Like, of course, some people have pointed out, well, peasants, medieval people had to spend much more time doing chores, like, washing clothes and whatever, boiling their water, everything, took much longer because they didn't have the machines. And certainly there's an argument to be made there, but I still think it's like, and they had to grow their own food. But I think that's not like a negative. I think it's good that you have the opportunity to grow your own food, because I think it's very dystopian how vast majority of people nowadays get their food from a supermarket. Like, and it's not really an option, realistically speaking, for most people. Uh, to I said, well, just buy your own farm and go grow your food, and yeah, then see what happened in Ruby Ridge. But anyways, that's it. Because we are slaves of the Neanderthals. We sort of looked into the Neanderthals before. That's what they confirm to be the fact. So anyway, and we should of course change that fact. There's a lot of us, not so many of them, and the only power they actually have is to use people to say random BS, and use their charm, not in the sense that they are actually charming, but somehow cast a glamour over people's reason, and just stop listening to their BS and put them in an oubliette, and then we can have a society where the PDF files aren't in charge, and that would be nice. Hey, Stolen Hellcat, thanks for showing up, but I'm just about to end the stream, but nice to see you. It's been a few weeks, I think. But yeah, I guess that's my cue to end the stream. So thanks for watching, thanks for showing up, and bye bye.